Hi there, folks, and welcome back to Nippon Trading International's Japan Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Ziv Nakajima again, and this podcast is brought to you, among others, by Emil Gorgees of realestate.jp. He's a Tokyo real estate agent who specializes in serving international or mixed nationality families who are looking for the perfect family home. So Emil's an Australian. He's been living here in Japan for over 2 decades now, and for about half of that time he's been buying, selling, and managing real estate properties in Tokyo on behalf of his own family and a great many happy clients. And he also acts as a mortgage broker on behalf of his clients. So he's got dedicated loan officers in many of the Japanese mega banks. And if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you probably already know him from our JREP, the Japan Real Estate Experts Panel sessions, which means that you're already aware of the fact that the man is an absolute fountain of wisdom on all things related to real estate in Japan, and in particular to family homes, the greater Tokyo metropolitan area, and mortgages. And most importantly, he's incredibly generous with his time and advice, which he's more than happy to provide at no cost or commitment to anyone asking. So if you've been thinking about buying your home in Tokyo, but you've been sitting on the fence for a while, or you just want to have a chat in English with a real expert, drop him a line on sales@realestate.jp. Hit him up today and start exploring your options. All right, so it's been a while since we've had a normal podcast episode, and I'm sorry this one is still not it. Today's episode is our debriefing session after this month's summit in Shibuya, Tokyo, which was phenomenal, by the way. We'll link to the downloads page in this episode's show notes. All slides, main room video presentations, and a gorgeous photo gallery are all there for you to binge on, so have a blast. Emil and Tracey, who were the ones conducting the post-mortem, will be talking about the event as they review your feedback forms after the weekend. Who attended, where did they come from, why do they keep attending, what did they like, not like, what they'd like more of, and what was too much, plans for the future, and everything else worth discussing. And it's a pretty long episode as is, so I won't take any more of your time, except to say again a huge thank you to everyone who joined us, both in person and in the Zoom room. Enjoy the debriefing, and I'll see you again on the other side.
Hello. Wow. Recovery from the real estate summit last week. Was it 1 week, 2 weeks? I don't know.
I know it was epic. So I mean, this has just been such an interesting journey, right? We started off with like a half day, 1 day event, and what this is the fourth one now, and we filled up 2 days. People flew in from Chicago, from Colorado, from Guam, from Philippines, specifically for this event, which is so, I mean, people who happen to be here in the past, we've had people that have just happened to be there and, happy accident that it fell at the same time as they traveled. But in this case, people have dedicated like money and resources to come and stay and see us. So that's like I'm so pleased that people saw the value in that. And I think people did. Yeah. Has that been the feedback that you've got?
Definitely. I think there was 2 different types of people in attendance compared to the past. The traditional of people looking to either buy or invest, or renovate, or short-term rentals, or the Akiya. So they're basically our traditional clientele.
Right. Yep.
But this time I saw a lot of other industry professionals, a lot of other agents, a lot of other developers, people who are also in the industries that we're in, also come. And it was a lot of networking amongst business professionals,
100%.
professionals,
Now,
which is fantastic.
Do you think they've always been around, or do you think this is just growing because Japan, like people are starting to recognize Japan as a real estate, like as a good real estate investment from abroad? What do you think? Are these new entries to the market, or are these just people that we haven't seen before?
Oh no, I think the agents that were coming there, so there are lots of actual other brokers and agents that were there.
Sure.
So of course they've been doing it for quite a few years. So they're not new, but there's definitely a lot of interest
institutional investors, right? People that are institutional investors who are sniffing around. So,
well, Japan is very attractive now because of the low yen.
Of course, yeah.
So people that were always interested in, look, what can I do with my money? If they're in Japan, they have US dollars. Maybe they get paid, in US stock. Right, so they got a lot of cash there. They go, now's a good time to bring the money in. And there's, I think, also a lot of interest from, again, you said like these institutional investors, or maybe not institutional, but they're sort of in America. You have a lot of, the term slips my mind, but
The REIT.
Yeah, the REIT. Yeah, yeah, the REIT type ones, and they they sort of get together a group and invest in a certain area from tens of thousands to a few $100,000 each, or a few million each, and pull it together to purchase a property. So now Japan looks interesting because of how cheap it is, and also just how good value it is when you come to live here. I get lots of comments from most of my clients that are looking to buy their own family home. Even if they've been here for a short time, they just say the value of the dollar, what you get for your money in terms of value, cost of living, safety, security, lack of a lot of the drama they have.
Quality of living as well, yeah.
Yeah, is you can't buy that same sort of lifestyle in another country. So they're interested to put their money in here.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of clients that we have.
I think like you and I, we are, and the people that we mostly sort of hang out with, like long-term residents. So we have the benefit of such a stable, safe economy. We don't have that pressure, I think the cultural pressure that a lot of Japanese natives would have, like Japanese, like born and bred, like Japanese would have. So we get all the benefits of such a good society without having the invisible wall of Japanese culture, right? So we get the safety, we get the logistics, that the supply chain, the things that work, and trains that run on time, and everything. So we get to live the high life without any of the downside. So yeah.
Although that said, with Japanese kids in local Japanese elementary school, we are starting to feel some of that, the pressure that comes with the Japanese juken system and the education. So we have that to an extent, and I think you're experiencing that.
I feel you. I'm like, so much because Max is he's second year junior high, and we're currently looking at like senior high schools, because if people are watching from abroad, there's like junior high, which is 3 years, and then you go to a second like a separate senior high school for 3 years. And so you have to do exams to get into each of those, and so it's a lot of pressure. And also when your kid also has that cultural pressure of like looking a bit different, it's there's that. So I totally get it. I watched this, and this is a digression. There's a really interesting documentary that I saw just this week called Making of Japanese, Making of a Japan. Anyway, it's a Japanese language documentary set in Setagaya-ku, actually, in one of the elementary schools there, and they follow kids who are in grade 1 and grade 6, and they really, and it's in all in Japanese with English subtitles, and it really does explain why Japan is the way it is, and it's because that culture is just indoctrinated in those 6 years of elementary school, and it is so telling. It may be up for an Oscar, so you probably will see it. It'll come to cinemas in December, so it is really, really good, and it was really eye-opening about why Japan is the way it is, and it's because of this elementary school system. It's brilliant. It was really good. Highly recommend.
So is it called Making Japanese, you said?
Making of a Japanese. The Making of a Japanese. I don't have the
okay. Well, we'll put the link in the show description.
Yeah.
The show notes, is that right?
Yeah, the show notes.
So is that, you said it's coming to the cinema? Did you get an early preview, or is that
through the Australian the Women's University, the Kathy Matsui charity non-profit, where they sponsor women's university studies. And so yeah, Kathy Matsui, who is incredible, an incredible like role model and leader, like society leader I think she works at Goldman Sachs. So, but she heads up this non-profit, which is all about women's education.
okay
in Sri Lanka. I think the university is in Sri Lanka. So Making of a Japanese, yeah, it's been around it's just done the rounds of all of the international film festivals. So And it's just like when your kid is in Japanese school, it's just like they're exactly the same. It's like copy and paste just on different locations. It's really,
I
really
mean, that's a whole other podcast and video
absolutely.
discussion about trying to balance your mixed kids or your foreign kids in the Japanese landscape and what the right balance is. We don't want them to be too much in that. We like them to have a bit of a mix and try and juggle that as a parent. But let's table that for a
Let's
different
table
call.
that for another day.
Let's
But
look at the other tables, the response tables from the feedback we got.
sure,
The feedback questionnaire from the Japan Real Estate Summit, autumn 2024.
right. Let me
I'll let you share
just
your screen.
pull these out, and I shall share my screen. That's what I'm going to do. Share my screen. Can I do it? Yes, we can do it. Okay, so we've got 20 responses so far. And so this is anonymous. So, if you want to tell us the truth, you can really let fly and we won't know who's written it. But most people have said that they came in person for all weekend. This was the most number of tickets we sold. We sold the most number of early bird, all weekend tickets. People were buying for the whole weekend. Some people just came for Saturday, some people just came for Sunday. And then, of course, as usual, we have a lot of people who are dialing in from abroad.
Tracey, let's just jump back a second. We had, I think it was about 70 tickets in person, 70 or 80 attended in person each day.
Yes.
And I think there was 53 on the Zoom.
Well, there was more tickets sold than actually I think were attending. So yeah, so about the same number of people on the Zoom. Yeah, but then not because time zone's a challenge. If you're in the north over in North America, it's a bit hard to log in. So I think people have bought tickets because they're pretty cheap. The streaming tickets were pretty cheap, and they'll get the recordings. So they'll be coming out soon.
Yeah. So actually, the recordings are going up on YouTube. Like as of this video, I think all of them are actually on the realestate.jp YouTube channel. If you go to realestate.jp, you will see we're uploading the site now, updating the site with the links to those videos.
Okay.
So they're all currently on our YouTube channel. I remember when we were doing it, I think at one stage on the live stream, there were 35 attendees, was I think the most that I saw at any one stage. Remember, these were 7 hours or 8 hours each day.
I know, it's a lot.
Different speakers. So I don't expect any of the people who bought the Zoom tickets to be in there for the entire time. Very, very impressive for those that joined, let alone stayed for multiple speakers.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So it looked like there was 28 from the people that have responded. There's 28% of people that have come in from abroad. Most people obviously were Tokyo 23 wards, and then when you add in the Kanto, just greater Kanto, they don't have to travel that far. You can go home every night. But then some people have come up from Hokkaido, Kansai. So people have taken the time and effort to come in, which is great.
Yeah.
And then streamers, that's a pretty graph there, isn't it?
It is very nice.
Pretty much evenly spaced around. Which ones?
I like how you have a Inaka Honshu as there's Inaka Honshu as an option.
Well, yeah, because because people just tend to say inside of Tokyo and outside of Tokyo, and that's not really
Okay. I like it though. Inaka Honshu, yeah.
So
Inaka means rural area for those listeners who don't know what Inaka means.
Oh, what an Inaka means. So we're but if you're coming to buy, Akiya in Japan, then learning some of these terms will help you in your journey. So most people said it was pretty good, 5 stars.
So,
2 people said meh.
Oh, well, so we got 9. So of the 19 responses, 9 5-star, 8 4-star, and 2 3-star. No 1 or 2-star, which I'm happy with. I think I'm the kind of person who almost always gives a 4 out of 5. I rarely
As a
do.
short-term rental host, people like you just kill me, right? Like,
Oh,
because
no.
five star is like, yep, everything was as advertised. 4 star and below is just like, burn it to the ground with fire,
No. For stuff like that, I will do, host like yourself. Yes, I do that because I was a host as well. I had 12 Airbnb properties at the height of Airbnb in Japan when it was still fun and pre-regulation days when you're unrestricted. Uh, but for I think things like this, I'm like, if there's something that could have been done better, maybe that's on my own a reflection of myself. I'm never satisfied with what what I could have done. I still think there are a million things we could have done better in
Fair
this.
enough.
But
Fair enough. Oh, no,
let's have a look
absolutely.
at.
We can always do better. I mean, I'm a believer that we can always do better, but I'm just a people pleaser, and I'm also, I just want to be loved. I want to be praised.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
because we worked hard for this, right? There was a lot of effort. We're not making profit out of it. It's really, we're trying to give value back to the market. So,
sure.
um,
I love.
go ahead.
I'll let you read this value for money. You have a few choices: too cheap, too expensive, just right. And then I think there was a other option where you could put your own comment. I would like
Yes.
to please clarify that.
Yes. I would love to have paid more if it wasn't so cramped and the camera guy wasn't walking up and down the aisle and the guy with the long hair. So anyway, we'll let Seth know that his long luscious hair was distracting for somebody.
Yeah. I am going to say, it's quite hard to find a venue that
Yeah.
checks all the boxes
Yeah.
in terms of size. So in the past, we've had the venues have been just one room.
Yeah.
And it's to have one open, wide room. Then if we do that, we're not able to have breakout rooms. So in this particular venue was the first time we had it was 3 floors in total. We
Mhm.
had the main floor for presentations, a second floor, which is just for the lunch and you can chill out. And then a third floor, which was the breakout room for the breakout sessions that the speakers would have. Now, to get that kind of size, we need kind of a slightly narrower building, right, to have it all together. So that's what we did this time. So each floor wasn't massive. So the main floor that the presenters were in order for the camera guy to be able to record and get some shots, and then even some of the administrative stuff, some guy, the guy with long hair here, who had to go down and, maybe run the mics, okay,
Yep.
or had to, there was some kind of issue or question. He had to tell the IT guy at the front some stuff. Yes, that was definitely going to impede people's view because there are lots in the room. So I do apologize for that. It's kind of one of those, we have this smaller place with the 3 rooms or a bigger place without the separate levels. A lot of it comes down to cost, really.
Well, I was going to say we can get the biggest space in the world, but if we wanted to keep it because people have said it was just the price was just right,
Mhm.
and that's pretty important because we don't want to, sometimes it's sort of individual investors. We want to be affordable so that people are like being able to get into the market, and we don't want to sort of reduce the audience to people who can only afford to get there through their companies or their high net worth individuals themselves. So it's
Definitely.
a balance. It's a balance. So, but I did like having the multiple spaces, like being able, so people, if something wasn't interesting, if there was a topic that like was, wasn't someone's cup of tea, then they could have moved into into the lunchroom, and there was a lot of deals being done. I saw there's a lot of networking being done. So I think to me, that was a really valuable like investment in having that one whole floor that was just for people to use. Because it's 2 days, it's a lot. So you can't just be sitting there in school
Yeah.
for 2 days.
Oh,
Mm.
indeed. Yes, I did like that. So I do apologize that, it did maybe want the main room felt a little bit narrow and cramped. Everyone was sat very close together.
Yeah.
That said, we'll keep that in mind, I guess, when we search for a future venue. We do kind of run close to cost. We basically break even.
We do.
I
We
think
break even. Yeah.
like it's not a profitable endeavor for us. We don't do it to make money. So we need to price it accordingly. And I think a bigger, fancier venue just means it might price in some other attendees.
Donate a venue, right? That's the other thing, right? But then we want to also be agnostic a little bit and be able to give people like, balanced information. So, and not just be, another sales thing, right? So, we want to, and then that's the other option, right?
Definitely. Okay, let's move on.
Now, here's some big news for anyone interested in Akiya, the abandoned vacant homes that are abundant all around Japan for very attractive purchase prices. Akiya Mart, our latest sponsor, is a recently founded online search and discovery tool for Japanese real estate. Its user interface will be very familiar to users of Zillow or Redfin. The platform essentially scouts the internet for property listings, translates them into English, and displays prices in US dollars, all in one place and with a dynamic map interface that makes browsing, finding, and shortlisting your favorite properties a piece of cake. Which any of you who have been struggling with the dozens, if not hundreds, of Japanese property websites that are available online and their very clunky interface will probably find a real blessing. They've got already over 500,000 listings on the platform, and the database is expanding daily. Ranging from abandoned rural homes to luxury urban properties, Akiya Mart makes it easy to find your dream home in Japan, regardless of your budget. Now, while the platform is essentially free for use, here's an exclusive offer for listeners of the podcast. You can use the promo code NTI to receive $5 off Akiya Mart Pro. The subscription will unlock a bunch of very attractive features for you, including unrestricted access to the entire nationwide property database and a whole range of filters, which will help powercharge your search for that elusive perfect home and make it even easier. So hop over to akiya-mart.com, that's AKIYA-MART, akiya-mart.com, and kick off your search today.
So have people heard about the event?
Everywhere. So everywhere we went through, it's people who went through the event, me, YouTube, Ziv, LinkedIn, podcasts. So pretty much because we were just pushing it out through all of our different channels. Instagram, Facebook videos from the last one. Yeah, because we don't like do massive mail outs. We don't have a huge mailing list, so we're really relying on the social media aspect of it all.
Yeah, it's just strange through there's 17 responses, and only one of them, I think maybe I'm not even sure, is that Japan real estate email. Only one of them. Oh, LinkedIn was two.
But I gave people the option, like, but there's a couple of Facebook, like I didn't make it drop down. I just made it.
I see.
Fill in. So it was so that's why they're across the board. Yeah. But this one, it looks like Emil, you were popular. You and Ziv obviously were what people wanted to hear about. So
yeah. So okay, this one's always interesting because I live in my space and my world, which is family homes and Tokyo properties and financing, right? So every client that I meet is, for the most part, in my, coming to me because I'm going to be their guy. So when I think of the space, I kind of think, okay, I'm the, like, everyone else is interested in what I'm interested in. So this is really refreshing because I get to see, okay, there's so much more that other people are quite interested in. Let's just talk. So for me, residential purchasing is 47% were interested. Actually, so the question is, who did you most want to hear from when you signed up? And choose as many as you like. So 19 responses. So the 10, so Ziv was the most popular, investment properties. Myself and then Anton were 9 each. So myself with residential properties, Anton with Akiya. Then the Akiya Mart guys, Joey and Take, I love them. And Daigo, the tax accountant, were both 8 each. And then followed by 7 with Tracey, yourself, 6 for renovations, and Alicia, who does investment buildings. Okay, and that's interesting.
I just wanted to see everybody, right? And then some of them was just like, I just like real estate. So yeah.
All right. So look, I think what I like though is that there's quite a bit of it is has come to see the core group,
Correct.
which
Well,
is yeah.
I'm not surprised that most people want to come and see Zip because he is the most prolific on, with the, he doesn't just do the podcast with us. He does the podcasts with all of his clients too. So he's a big creator. So
Mhm.
I'm not surprised. And of course, Anton, big creator as well. And yeah, so I don't see a surprise in any of those. There's no surprise to me there.
Yeah, precisely. And look, also, I think, real like buying properties and investment properties are and now with sort of IKEA as well, they are kind of the core business. When you have the other items, which are renovations, short-term stays, taxation, that is, and then we got relocation as well, with Nick Woolsey. Those tend to be spin-offs off the core buying real estate. So once you buy it, then you need these other services. So I can understand how purchasing investment property, family home, or IKEA are the more
Yeah.
uh, uh,
And then
demand.
I did really enjoyed, I learned a lot from Nick actually. That was really, really great for me because I'd never met him before and I felt like his talk was just so relevant. And he wants obviously to keep it. He kept his presentation based on, well, you want to move to Japan, let's use real estate as the vehicle for that. So, and I think he has some really, really interesting, creative avenues to get to live your Japan life, which a lot of people have. A lot of people have. So
Yeah. So I unfortunately, like a lot of these guys I was not able to listen to. Either I was in the breakout room doing my own breakout session, or I was just in the lunchroom
yeah.
having one-on-one conversations or small group conversations with two or three other people about mortgages, about different strategies. And I had, just lots of interesting discussions. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to a lot of these other speakers
It's
who I
well worth
really.
looking at the recording. So that's why it's good that we're having the recording because I missed out on a couple as well because I was working. Like
Yeah.
I was doing my own breakout session or in so
Yep.
yeah, so I'm interested in seeing some of these again. And so there's some pretty good feedback on the takeaways, right? So a lot of them obviously are about, finance, loan.
Let's just read them. We'll take turns reading.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Favorable view of purchasing real estate for future portfolio and networking. So was a positive. So I guess that was more of an excitement piece. So
Okay.
yes.
Using your residence as a business address, something I previously understood you cannot do. All right, that could have been with either Zib or Nick.
Nick actually had some pretty good ways that you could get your business visa and house hack. And so, I mean, I house hack. And so he gave some pretty good case studies of ways that you could house hack your business and visa situation.
Interesting.
So there is a way to get financing without being a resident. Absolutely.
That would be Alicia's one. This is fun. It's like, okay, based on this, which speaker do I think this came from?
Yeah, exactly. So sorry, I'm just jumping in here. Loan arbitrage. I didn't hear that. So does that make sense to you? Loan arbitrage is an opportunity here?
Uh, is enormous.
No one understood GRM and IRR. So
Yeah, and then internal rate of return. I'm not sure about GRM. Okay. Interesting because loan arbitrage is again like banks are a bit, to get financing licenses, and to get into the financing and loan business is quite challenging in Japan. So it's a highly regulated industry. So if that's what they're talking about, just having a gap in re-loaning against that. There are a lot of tools and mechanisms, I think, in the US which do not work here.
absolutely. So
Interesting.
this covers a lot of things. It's like, I think being in a room where people are at different stages of their investment journey, and seeing what people have done before, and I think that's what a lot of these next ones are about. That's really helpful for giving people permission to, go and do something that is they've never done before. So too difficult to answer, but picked up a lot of vital information. It saved a lot of time and many mistakes. And then networking with other property lovers. So you next.
Okay, so tenancy protection and Akia chance.
Yeah.
And one below that, that there are accessible people working together to help non-Japanese gain knowledge about managing properties, personal or rental, throughout Japan. That's us. That's what this is about.
That's what we do. That's what we do. So there's another takeaway is there's always more to learn. As with other types of investment, do your due diligence, check and recheck facts and figures thoroughly, understanding the tax laws, as well as the socio-economic and geographic nuances. 100%. So I think that was the message that came through in everything. It was due diligence, due diligence, due diligence. Like, yeah, don't believe the clickbait, free houses, right?
Oh, God, yeah. The importance of knowing your why, whether it is for purchase, investment, renovations, the importance of community.
100%.
The
Would have been
next
better
one.
to pay for the streaming. It would have been better to pay for the streaming. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
an option you have for next time. I think definitely the streaming can be, I think, useful if you just want to get specific speaker information and content. But a lot of what you hear from the other comments is being present in a room with other like-minded individuals.
100%.
And I find a big one, and one of my goals with, what we do with the podcast and, real estate in Japan in general is I want purchasing real estate in Japan for foreigners not to be a scary thing or not to feel unusual. I want it to become normal.
Yeah.
Normalize it. The more people we are able to bring into real estate, like more foreign people we're able to bring into real estate in Japan, the better it is for everyone in the community. The better it is for other buyers. The better it is for investors. The better it is for people like us who provide services to these individuals. So, someone asked, look, are we competing? There's a lot of, sometimes amongst all the speakers, our services can overlap. And definitely that can happen. But I think overall, if we're able to bring more, I'd rather grow the pie
Exactly.
than battle over one piece of the pie.
Exactly.
And I think we're all in it with that sort of attitude. It's going to be great for the community.
Yeah, my philosophy is a rising tide lifts all boats. So that's my goal. And also everyone's got their their lane or their expertise. And also, some people you get on with better, and that's all okay. So all right. Better to pay for the streaming. So it was a confirmation of ideas and lessons already presented in the podcast, along with new info, tools, and stats, and being able to discuss it further. That's nice. Yeah.
And so that's interesting. Yeah, being able to discuss it further in the breakouts. So again, the breakout sessions were not recorded.
Yeah. Nope.
And that was a lot more sort of, in my breakouts, I think I had one of them was about maybe 10 to 14 people, as opposed to 70 or so that were in the main room, 60 or 70. So we could just, and there's no recording, so people could ask some more sort of personal or
and give their personal financial position, which is, you'd not necessarily want it out there on the internet as well. Like, if your boss is watching or something, right? So
I think I was in the breakout room for 2 hours.
Me too. I had a really good session. It was great. I just, when you're in a group, when you're in a really engaged group of people who, that you're all excited about the same stuff. It's just fantastic. It was really cool energy. Yeah. So Resi loans, that's you, mate. Yes.
Residential loans, yep. Lots of information of different ways to invest in real estate.
100%. Process and bridges. I don't quite know what that means, but yeah.
And Japanese real estate is in the spotlight right now, but to succeed, you need help and a multifaceted approach.
Mhm.
Yes. Don't just buy Akia and think you can flip it and 10x your money.
Mm. No,
Yeah.
no. So some people really, so the venue, if I just want to keep moving
How,
on,
how was the venue?
some people didn't like it. Some people said it was okay.
All
So
right. Yeah, okay. That's kind of what we all often get with venue
yeah,
spaces. Okay.
whereas we haven't found the perfect venue yet. We haven't. We'll keep looking.
Mhm. Food and beverage.
I thought the food was amazing.
Yeah, okay. So 3, 4, 5. So even spread from 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star. 4 responses each, and one star. Someone was not happy with it. Oh, okay, that's fine. There was a there was a
Convenient.
convenience store next door, so you could help yourself.
Yep.
Okay, this one's interesting. What would you like us to cover at future events? All right, let me go through a few of them.
Yeah, you go
So,
through.
purchasing real estate with a foreign company. Okay. Business taxation and what you can or cannot offset as business expense, especially for short-term rental properties.
Yep, I'd like to know that too.
Yeah. Uh, non-traditional financing, investment strategies, private equity investing. Okay. That's something that, yeah, definitely is not what we generally do ourselves with that non-traditional financing. Multifamily investments, shared housing investments, land development, and private equity players. Okay.
Again, we're looking institutional investments here. Yeah, rather than solos.
Yeah. Legal and taxation aspects of foreign corporate ownership, including trusts and offshore shell companies, exit strategies.
Not my,
Okay, exit
not my
strategies.
favorite.
Yeah. People who bought an Nokia and moved to Japan. Okay,
Yes,
some
case
people's
studies.
stories.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
I feel there can be just an entire Akia event.
Because I mean, even I was in Australia and over Japan summer, which is Australian winter, and just the number of like newspaper articles about here is this family, they're living their dream, they've bought something in the ski fields and they've created a ski lodge. I mean, there's thousands of stories like that, thousands,
Mm.
and uh, but of course, the newspaper always does it so well, and that they focus on that particular person or a couple of different case studies. So that is possible to maybe try and find some people like that who could come and talk about their experiences. So
I was actually, I was speak I was in Australia last August and I had to go to the Apple shop to repair my laptop. So whilst I was at the Genius Bar waiting, they come and they're like, oh, okay, where did you buy this one? Like, oh, this one was bought, it's a Japanese model, etc. or something. And yes, I live in Japan, so that's why I bought it there, hence the Japanese keyboard and what have you. And the guy, older gentleman next to me, he's sort of also waiting for his appointment. He's like, oh, you live in Japan? I just went there on a vacation, etc. I was talking to him. And he pulls up his phone and goes, yeah, I'm looking to buy like an old house, like a cheap house, not an Akia, but just one down near Izu. Because he used to live there years ago, and he's a older guy, maybe like mid to late 50s. Looking
that's
to
not
buy
older, Emil.
older than me, older than me. Yeah, not old, but yeah, slightly older. And but like he's more sort of he's not looking to do the Akia thing. He's like just wants a nice holiday house. But he pulls up some sumo listings or at-home listings in Izu, and he goes, I found this great place, and there was this house, and that it shows it to me. And I look at one of them, I go, yeah, that seems fine. It's about 200,000, 300,000 like Aussie, so
Yep.
20, 30 million yen. There was this amazing one, but it must have gone right away. It was so much house for whatnot. And then he goes, oh no, here it is. And he shows me the price. He showed me the property, and it's this huge mansion overlook, like when I say mansion, like just an epic grand house overlooking. And he goes, yeah, this is like, like Sanzen Mayen, like $300,000, 30 million. And I look and the website says 30, like, like the 3,000 Mayen. So the Google Translate translating everything in English, and it says that it's 30 million yen or $300,000. The same it has with other listings, but this is 10 times more house than what all the others were in the same area.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful. Like the bathroom is worth more than that. And so I changed back to Japanese, and it's San Oku, 300 million yen. So it's $3 million. And so it's cut off a zero. But I was like, all right, yeah, just you need to be careful with the translation on the websites, especially with numbers, because yeah, it only gave you 10% the price. Anyhow, that's
Yeah,
that little story.
numbers are crazy. So, the way just counting and the way counting is done is just so different here. So, and sometimes machine translations get it wrong. So always refer back to the original language. So yes, so people who bought an Akio move to Japan, commercial property investment and respective case studies. So
yep,
Ziv does a lot of that. I didn't see Ziv's talk. So
yeah. A little bit more or additional sessions on the process of simply buying a home, specifically to Japan, what to look for, what to watch out for, and financing options. Okay, I thought I had two very specific talks on that, but I will.
I mean, and also there's all the past ones that we've done too, and I think don't neglect all the past recordings as well, because each of the times that we do this, we do a different talk. We don't do the same talk over and over again, even though I was surprised that I thought we'd have people that had come to all four, but it actually turned out that it's almost like a fresh audience each time. So people are only coming, like they might have been their second time, even though we've had it 4 times. So so this might be, even though I don't want to give people information that they've heard before, and bore them, this might be new information for them, but all the recordings are there. So a lot of this stuff may still be there. And if you're unsure, that's why you just, we're not hard to find you can flat into our DMs and find us. So
yeah, I do know that with the process, sometimes even for myself, because I do the purchase process for clients every other day, it's easy for me to sometimes overlook it as people want a whole discussion and guidance just on this one small aspect of what I do, sort of as just part of the standard job. So, okay, I will be sure to maybe spend a little bit more time about the process. Often that process as well is towards the end of the presentation when we're running short on time, and Ziv is like, "Come here, hurry up, time."
Fair enough. Yes. Yes.
Regulatory restrictions for rentals and what to look out for.
I don't do much on like just regular regular long-term rentals. Like, does Ziv talk about that, or you talk about that, or no? Basically, I think it's just find a property manager and hand it and let them handle it, right? So
look, a lot of times it's people come with a Western mindset. And an understanding of Western rules, which is completely fine because the rules and what is based in your country, which is why you come to these events to learn about the differences. Yeah, so I can understand that. Yeah, Japanese rental market is different. You cannot evict people. Restrictions are different. So okay, definitely something to bring up.
Now, if you've attended any of our recent JREP Summit events in Tokyo or online, you've probably heard our sponsor, Robert Miller from Innovatious.com. He's been in web solutions here in Japan for the past 25 years, and he's also an active investor in Japanese real estate property, as well as global online property, which is his specialty and what his company Innovatious is all about. They offer a full suite of website services for entrepreneurs and small business owners, including all aspects of web design and management, backup and updates, content formatting and editing, proactive maintenance and error fixing, you name it, with a strong focus on SEO excellence, which is what gets you those hardcore top-of-the-list search engine rankings. But there is a difference. Innovatious works off a simple, all-inclusive monthly subscription model, as opposed to the typical outdated and confusing project model. So you never have to wonder how much any request for any work to be done on your website might cost. It's always $497 per month. And if that's not enough, if you've mentioned you've heard of their services on the Japan Real Estate Podcast, you'll also get 10% off this monthly price for life. Also, and equally important, if not more, you can try out Innovations for just 1 month, then switch them off, on again later if you want, and so forth. There are no minimum subscription terms. Now, if you're a small business owner, managing and growing a website is super distracting and time consuming, right? That's exactly where Innovations comes in. Robert's team takes care of all of that for you so that you can focus on what you do best. So feel free to email Rob on robert@innovations.com, and his team will conduct a full SEO and website audit on your site, reveal anything that you should address to increase your website's appeal, and provide you with an easy-to-read detailed report with your own branding so that you can make some informed decisions on your online strategy and watch your business grow as you implement it. So once more, robert@innovations.com. Drop him a line and get your website reviewed today.
Commercial real estate. Okay, we're gonna discuss that next time. I don't really deal in commercial. Curious if we can find someone who works in commercial investments. And lucky last, topics are great as it is. If it is possible, please bring in other people, even if they are not the top tier of their industry, because people face different kinds of difficulties when starting out, and to be able to hear their experience is also very enlightening.
That's interesting that they see us as the complete experts. Like we started, like you and me, we're just making it up as we go along, right? I've known you for what? How long have I known you? 15 years. So
about that, yes.
And we're just doing the next right thing that's in front of us, and like with the information that we've got, when like we're just we're maybe just one or two. Well, you're a bit different, but for me, I'm just like 2 or 3 steps along the road, the same road that new people coming along behind have been. Like, I'm a leading learner, and I'm learning every day. I don't know everything at all. I'm still learning. So
I feel also it's very important that, when we have these events, we try our best to curate the speakers to people who can give correct information and adequate information, not people who may not know correctly. They've only done one thing and they think that's their world. I get that a lot with my clients. They've come, and when I do my consultations, they've heard a lot from one friend. One friend has bought one house, and they explain that the story is this is how you buy your house. And this is especially with the financing side. And based on that one story, people think that's the only way forward. And they'll have an incorrect understanding or incomplete understanding of what their options are available to them. So I'm kind of actually careful to bring people who may not actually know the full story clearly, and just giving one sort of piece of information and people thinking that's the whole picture, because that's wrong.
So it's just, but also just starting where people are at as well. Like, having the expert, but having them start at the beginning, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay. Next one. We had
better chairs. I wasn't sitting. I was bopping around. So the chairs, again, this is coming down to cost. We had to be frugal to make sure that we didn't blow out the costs on having fancy armchairs. So
yes. The streaming got a bit of a hit and miss at times. Sound went a few times in the Saturday session and the stream froze. It was terrible, but whatever the root cause was, can you check to see if you can avoid that? I would, however, say it was an overall improvement on the previous summit, though, as you had more mics and I could at least hear the audience questions. All right, fantastic. Last time we had big sound issues whenever we rent a venue and use their equipment. We've had issues. So this time we purchased our own, 4 wide microphones, 2 cordless microphones, full mixer, speakers.
Like we had our own equipment, and I think the streaming is we're relying on the strength of the Wi-Fi, right? We're relying on the Wi-Fi. So, and that's provided by the building. So that's something to look out for. But yeah, that sound thing was the biggest complaint that we've had over the different times, and we've solved it. Yay! Happy about that.
Okay, so another comment about the chairs.
Another comment about the chairs, and that's so vegan lunch. I'm like, oh, hard to. We do our best to have vegetarian options as what like to go full vegan. Like we'll see. I'm sorry to the vegans, but we've got limited. Short of doing menus in advance, which administratively would be challenging. So swag bags are a good idea. I was like, I do like the idea of a swag bag, but that's again adding to the cost because they're never free, remember? So they're someone has to pay for it. It's usually in the ticket price.
Yep, definitely. More places with tables so we can take notes and with better aircon. Yes. I think we did have a lot of people crammed into the main room.
At first, yeah, but I don't think actually, to be fair, I think we didn't actually have both air cons turned on at the same time. I think that was the problem. We were so in rush getting started. I think we missed one of the air cons. So yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I cranked them up.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I cranked up the aircon to the max.
Mm.
Yeah, with so many bodies in that
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Legal and taxation, yeah, that's always something for, and it's usually the thing is about legal and taxation, it's usually that everybody's cases are unique and individual. And so it's hard to do a talk that will hit a lot of people's like needs. But because legal and taxation is really there's so many different things that you can't carry every use case. So it's almost better booking in for a private consultation to just discuss what your needs are with an expert.
Yeah. So I think also with legal and taxation, we have like we can look into it and see, okay, what are the common threads? What are the common topics? We did have it, the Daigo-san come and speak about taxation, but then when you have a look at the different types, like investment analysis of multiple unit types of multifamily buildings, how many different sort of taxation scenarios are you going to go through to cater for everyone? And you did say the presentation from Sato-san was the same as last spring. Perhaps that can be part of the pre-reading material so it doesn't get rehashed. Okay, that's interesting. So this person came to both events.
Yeah.
But I think also, look, when you have come to the events, gotten certain information, and then realize you need some more specific information, that's when it's worth reaching out and having a consultation
100%.
with someone. You're not going to get such specific advice just from listening. This is the first step, and then you should reach out to the individual and schedule sort of a talk or a consultation. And with someone like a tax accountant who provides certain services, that's probably you may need to pay for their particular service, but at least you're getting very unique, specific information.
Especially on tax and legal stuff, it's like free information on the internet. Do you want to so yeah, start and then drill in and get and pay for the expertise you need. So
breakout room should be more structured and better staffed. Okay.
And isn't that the idea of a breakout room? Like to have something that you can really dig anyway. Right. So this is an interesting, it took me a while to understand what this particular person was trying to say, saying that there's a lot of stuff about Tokyo, and I understand that. I do understand that, like, if you're living in Tokyo and there's a lot of information about, how to live your life as a non-Japanese person with permanent residency. But the further away you get from Tokyo, there's not as much detailed information. And I completely agree with that comment.
Can you read it, please? I think we have some people that may not be just listening.
I'm sure others have more ideas, but information-wise, there has been a dearth of info on how to improve lives of non-Japanese PRs, so permanent residents, in Japan. And the further one gets from Tokyo, the dearthier it gets. Add to that, being a woman and then an aging woman, and boom, what do you do? So I really gave zero complaints, and I'm really hopeful that there is a group like you all have put together to share and learn and openly support non-Japanese in Japan. It's fine to continue as is, sometimes less is more.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess the nugget I pulled out of that was the information like living inside of Tokyo and how to thrive. It does get a little more challenging as you move out into the regions.
Yeah. I generally just work in Tokyo as well, so I don't have a lot of experience. I can't really speak to
No, I can't speak to
how to live outside of there because I don't I don't do it myself.
myself.
Yeah. But sorry, can you scroll? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. So for streamers, improvement in audio visual system for conferencing. Also I with that again about the live stream. I think on day 2 we moved to a wide connection. We got like a 10-meter long Ethernet cable and wired it straight into the router rather than using Wi-Fi. So I do think day 2 was a better quality of stream without some choppiness and lag that we had in the first one.
I think a lot of people actually were were clogging up the network as well, because we had like 80 people on each floor.
But were they using the Wi-Fi? I think they weren't connected to the
Some
Wi-Fi.
people were, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But alrighty.
I
I
know
will. I think yeah. Okay, we'll look into the speed of
hmm.
the Wi-Fi and the wide connection. I think next time we'll go straight to um a
Why?
wide connection
Yeah.
and lock out. So there won't be any Wi-Fi available for
Hmm.
local attendees.
Yeah. So Wi-Fi was quite bad for streaming. I lost a lot of content because of the speakers being cut out. Um, please
So,
go back and watch the replays. So just to grab anything you missed.
but we do apologize for that. Like quality of the audio, quality of the broadcast is important to us because you are paying to hear it and listen to it, and we're going to all the effort of preparing it. So sorry for that. But yeah, next time straight to wired, and we will have to check the speed more thoroughly of the venue.
So having an English-Japanese vocabulary list of important must-know terms for navigating the real estate market would be helpful. That's interesting. Do
Okay.
do you have like a glossary?
I prepared one years ago. I don't really. I need to dig it up. It's easy enough to redo it of some of the key terms.
It could
Man,
free, like before people go to download that, and like, I mean, I make dictionaries for a living. I could make a dictionary.
yeah, exactly.
But like
That's
iOS.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so I think some people are not familiar with many terms and what they mean in their native language. So a rundown of those terms and translate them into Japanese would be good for newbies. So I think that's just a follow on from that part, the number 2. Number 4 is quite a few breakout sessions would have loved to have seen. Could those be recorded and posted later? Will any of the sessions be available later? And clarifying in the promo material would be good. If a breakout session contains personal anecdotes, then those could be edited out for privacy, or attendees could sign a waiver that the sessions were being recorded. So that's for streaming people. And we did have that complaint saying, yeah, the breakout sessions were not being recorded.
Yeah.
And,
So I think in the future,
take that on. We'll think about that.
yeah, I think in the future for those the breakout rooms, we can have a discussion. Definitely, we need to be clear in the wording, whether or not the breakout sessions will be available on the live stream or not. After hearing mine, I think there may be certain sections, certain breakouts which are not going to be suitable for live streaming or recording. One like mine, when we talk about financing, I think if it's off the record, people are a lot more open to have the conversation. But that's one of the reasons we try to attend in person versus just the streaming. But then I know, like, I listen to the Akiyama boys do their breakout room and the walkthrough, and I think that would be great for for a streaming. So in the future, definitely we'll label which ones will be not streamed, not streamed, not streamed. We'll be clearer in that.
Okay.
So everyone has an idea. Okay.
This is sort of venue-y. This next couple of questions, next couple of comments about the venue, get a better venue, choose a bigger venue, more comfortable seating as we were seated for long, and limit the disturbance from another floors. I didn't know that the other floors were noisy.
I think if there was talking in the corridors,
right.
stairwells, that was probably it.
Someone wanted to not partake in the lunch because there wasn't that many options and they weren't networking, so could save some food and costs by making it opt-in. Chair spacing was tight. I'm just going to say that adding that level of complexity to people picking and choosing the food, and not wanting the food, so they're wanting to save money. I'm going to put my hand up and say I'm not down for that. It's adding that level of complexity. It's not what we're about, right? We need to feed people. That's the goal. And we want to have nice food, but like it's for me, it's fuel. And I don't want people to be able to like, oh, I don't want this food. I don't want that food. So anyway, that's just my personal set.
I fully agree. We need to focus on trying to make the event as good as possible. Added complexity of opt-in or opt-out for food, and then monitoring who's opted in, who's opted out. So food is not something we I think beyond the scope of what we can comfortably manage.
I mean, look, unless we get someone with a food truck to come and park outside and then people go and like order themselves, I mean that's another option, but I don't like, again, levels of complexity that not in scope. Yeah.
Well, what will happen is if that's the case, trying to get 50 lunch orders done, by the time number 50 gets their lunch, they've missed two more presentations.
Correct.
If it's a food van. So I'm okay with how we've done the food.
I'm okay
I do think maybe, as always, need to look at different food options to cater to more people.
Look, I thought the food was, I thought the food was really good in terms of what was available and the quality and the variety and the freshness, and there was a dessert, so I thought that was pretty good. So
yeah, definitely. Okay.
Slides to be downloaded a day before. Slides to be downloadable a day before so we can anticipate what's going to be discussed and also prepare questions in depth. Well, that means that all the speakers have to get their presentations ready on time, which is not necessarily something that's, we do, like, we're busy folks. So
yeah, I'm often refining my presentation through till like, the day before. So look, we'll definitely consider that and maybe discuss it and say, look, this is the material in advance. You can grab it and have a look. Something we can think about that. Definitely.
We can think about that.
I'd like to see I'd like to see the recorded seminars as soon as they're over. Maybe even the next day. Can I know where and how I can stream the recorded content? Yes, so we've just finished now doing it. If you go to realestate.jp or the realestate.jp YouTube channel, you'll see everything uploaded there. So as of recording this video, we've uploaded all of them except my day 2 presentation, which we're just finishing up right now. But we're just going to put sort of end on, fix up some audio, enhance the audio, and then upload it. There's a lot of files, a lot of data to do. So it's not, hey, straight up, just watch it right away, the Zoom call.
Well, we're a ragtag group, and we're, self-funded and self-managed. So it's I don't know about you, but I spent the next day, I just didn't leave my boudoir for the whole day. It was like, I'm out.
Yeah. And also there is another option of, the live stream, which is we're using Zoom, that recording is made public. But the problem with with the cloud recording on Zoom is the quality is not very good. any of the chops and whatnot is missed out and is not there. What we've also got going on, we've got the guy there where he's recording the video and the audio directly. So what we're uploading on YouTube is HD with very clear sound, the direct input, not the streamed output captured by Zoom. So if we were to make the streamed output available immediately, the quality is not going to be very good. So we need to give it a few days. And lots of people will watch it, even stuff from a year or two ago, our previous events, people will still watch them now, the streams.
Sure.
So if they were really poor quality, I think it'll have a negative effect overall.
We interrupt this broadcast to tell you about Tokyo Family Stays. They're a short-term rentals company in Tokyo, and they offer a home away from home experience, which is just perfect for remote working, quarantining, if that's still a thing, or if you just need somewhere quiet to get away from the world. They offer a variety of options for families, corporate relocations, or even if you're simply transitioning between homes in Tokyo. The properties are super comfortable, tastefully furnished, fully equipped with all amenities, and they accommodate up to 10 people. So really the only thing you'll need to bring with you is your toothbrush and maybe a change of clothes. They come with fast unlimited wireless internet, dedicated workspaces, and fully equipped kitchens, and they're just a delight to stay in. Fantastic alternative to Japanese business hotels, which if you've ever stayed in one, you probably know they're tiny, they're noisy, fine for a night or two if you're on your own, but longer term or with a family, you'll probably feel you're in a jail cell very quickly in a Japanese business hotel. So if you want to give yourself a sense of space and freedom by renting a real home with comfortable Western beds, including all the necessities like baby bedding, children's toys, high chairs, etc., you definitely want to reach out to Tokyo Family Stays. They've been at it for over a decade. They're a fully licensed minpaku or short-term stay operator. And as a special bonus for our viewers and listeners, they're also throwing in a breakfast basket upon arrival for anyone who books and mentions the Japan Real Estate Podcast or NTI. And not only for guests, if you're a property owner, you've got an investment property that you want to tweak for higher profit, or a holiday home that you want to rent out when you're not using it via short-term stays, drop them a line today, see how they can help you maximize your property's income. And again, as a special bonus to our viewers and listeners, they're also offering a free audit of your existing short-term stay listings without any obligation whatsoever. So feel free to reach out to them at tokyofamilystays.com. Well worth a visit. And again, if you're in the market for a family home in or around the Tokyo metropolitan area, Emil's your man. Don't be shy to reach out to him as well at sales@realestate.jp. And now, back to the podcast.
The first day seemed oversold and there were people standing, so maybe limit tickets. The first day definitely, and the first talk in particular, because the breakout rooms haven't started, people haven't gotten the flow of the networking. So everyone is just in that one main room. Yes, it does get very crowded. One of the things now is, after going to the event, is a slightly larger main room.
Yeah.
In cater for a few more people.
And shout out to everyone who was standing outside from 8 o'clock waiting to get in when we opened the doors at 10. So,
people
everyone's very, very eager, which was lovely. But we only got possession of the building that morning, so we had to put out the rental chairs had to arrive, and the food had to arrive, and the drinks had to arrive. So we did. There was a lot of very eager people, which is wonderful. It's just so flattering. It's really humbling that people were so interested. So
that was very exciting. When I rocked up in the taxi with my stuff and just saw, just lots of people outside. I'm like, oh wow, okay, it's fantastic. So that was great. But definitely, I think we do need a bigger main space.
Yeah. And people are saying they want, so I would really like to have some tables so we can write notes and have some more personal space. I get it. Yes, we understand.
Yeah.
So we take that on board. And again, sorry, I keep assuming everyone's going to be watching this, but people listen to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the comments was not sure of the fix, but I missed some of the speakers because I was at another speaker's breakout and vice versa. So it's a scheduling challenge. So who do you want to listen to? So
well, I think my breakout session was during another speaker's main session. So I was like, I don't want to do my breakout. I want to listen to the other guy.
Me
Um,
too.
uh,
Me too. I missed Anton, so
well, this-
hmm.
I see that guy enough.
So
Um,
cool.
okay. Would you be likely to attend another JREP event in the future? We had
Everyone said yes, except for someone who said maybe.
17 responses. Okay, yeah, everyone said yes, no nos, and a maybe. It's complicated. We always are complicated. Would you be interested in attending a weekend retreat style event again? 44% said yes, 22% said no. And others, maybe if I lived in Japan, maybe at Anakia, which has been refurbished. Not sure. I've attended retreat type events in the past and find I get lost in uh, lost in the busyness of them socializing and mingling. While fun, dilute the true lesson I want to take away. Might be my personal learning type, but I find streaming helps my attention stay focused. I find I particularly do not enjoy guest speaker dinners, old fashioned or just old. Okay. Oh yeah, we did have the gala dinner. Do you ask any questions about the gala dinner? So I thought that was fantastic, and so there were, for those who couldn't attend or were on the stream, we had a dinner at a nearby restaurant. I think we had 50 people attend.
I know
So
I
that's
paid
pretty
for
cool.
50 people, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 8,500 yen, which is basically the cost of the dinner itself. We don't make any money on it. It's sort of break even. Uh, they were a bit slow to serve the alcohol. It was free pour. That was a nomi hodai, all you can drink. But they did extend the time for us after a few complaints that they didn't have enough staff supporting our demands. So they think they let us stay an extra hour and a bit through till the end. So that was good. I found that was a great
I liked it. I thought it was a good.
extension of the networking opportunity and able just to mingle and sort of have one-on-one banter with others and with us. So yeah, I definitely think we'll do that again. We won't be doing it for 2 nights.
Yeah, I like hearing other people's story. I mean, I guess I was sick of the sound of my own voice, so I want to hear other people's stories, like, and hear where they're at and where, like, I find that very, very interesting. So, had some lovely conversations with some very interesting people.
And I saw lots of other individuals having great conversations with each other.
Indeed, yes.
Like attendees with other attendees talking about it. And I do think, as you know, we said at the beginning, it really brings a lot of like-minded individuals together in one spot. So they're able to really, I think there's definitely some business connections that were happening and being made with each other, or just general connections of either friendship or people in the future who they may do things together, be it an Akio or an investment or whatnot.
There, believe it or not, there were a couple of people who didn't come to the day event and only came and paid for the dinner.
Oh, really? Okay. I think we said you need to have a ticket for it, but I made it. Were there some people that reached out to us separately?
No, everyone had it. Everyone who came had a ticket.
Okay.
And so they may have been working during the day, for example, and so
I see.
wanted to come to the day program, and so just came to the dinner. So there was a lovely chap, Suzuki-san. He brought a couple of friends, so drinking
Okay.
buddies. So they were the little, like, crew that were they were drinking nihonshu and
The
having
Japanese
a
guys, yes, yes. I had a great chat with them actually, and spent, I think, with one of them. We're discussing some opportunities. One of them is an investor and an agent looking to resell, and he told me about a listing that's coming up, and so we were chasing that up the following few days about finding a potential buyer because it was like a special opportunity that has a time limit on it due to the seller needing financing at a certain window.
Is that
So
the 5-story something or other? And yeah.
no, it's one just single apartment, about 80 million yen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think, oh no, there's a couple more.
Yeah.
So what would you like to be included? That's if you wanted to come. Residential purchasing is still top of mind for everybody. So buying a residential property is still very much top of mind.
And tax advice.
Tax advice.
Also, okay. Then let me go through. So the top two responses. So the question is, what would you like to be included in the future? So top two, residential purchasing and tax advice. Then the next ones, which got 9 votes each, building reform and renovations, investments, and loan applications from a lending officer. Okay. All right. So get an actual loan lending officer to come and do that. Okay. Maybe I should go through that in more detail. So I'm basically like I fill out the loan application. So for our agency, we have agreements with loan officers. And so we fill out the loan applications on behalf of the client and submit them to the bank. So maybe that's something to do in one of the breakout sessions is, okay, these are the loan documents. Let's go through and fill them out. Your name. It's all quite straightforward. But anyway, yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming to new people. So following that, purchasing Akia and breakout sessions is mastermind type revenue management workshop.
That was me. I actually did a revenue management workshop, and I think that I'd like to do more of that because I'm not an expert in it. So I learn as much from other people as you know, I do some prep and then we dig in and then we can look at the dashboards, like look at the data and say, well, what inferences can we draw from this data? I love it. So that's the sort of thing I really enjoy doing. So I'm learning as a mastermind, I'm learning as much rather than being a teacher. We're all helping each other.
The next most popular was Minpaku and short-term rental. That's yours.
And then hot seats, networking party, private consultations, and then
all of the above.
Hard reality of long-term residents. Well, other people have included that. Okay.
Okay, I think there was other option. So for long-term residents, what to do with downsizing in older homes purchased decades ago? Is there a need to fix up before selling? For sure, inheritance taxes, spouses as non-Japanese, spouses foreign Japanese, and adult children as inheritors, having moved abroad or living in Japan, selling of rental assets as older PR or leaving as inheritance. Yeah, I think there's a lot of taxation and inheritance tax structure. I think, taxation and inheritance tax can be like a full day on its own. And then finding someone
estate planning when you're involving real estate, because we had a lot of that. I was in Daigo's session there and there was so much juicy information in that session. It was mind-blowing how the calculations and the discounts are done. Yeah, there was some really, really juicy discussions in there and I learned so much from that.
Yeah. I am going to say, especially with taxation, I get it with home loans and I understand that. And I know with taxation, there are so many fine nuances and exemptions or special circumstances where certain things work, but if you meet certain considerations, then it's a different scenario. And if you don't get that personal information, personal advice, then it won't apply to you. Like a really good example, and I had this discussion actually with Daigo, he pulled it up because I had this with a client of mine, is depreciation. So depreciation on a wooden structure is 22 years. So, and if you sell your house, right, your personal residence, there's a capital gains tax. But if it's but you get a waiver on that capital gains tax up to 30 million yen. But in order to be eligible for that waiver, there are a few things about your own situation that make you eligible or not. And then did you rent out that property or not in the past, or was it purely your primary residence? And then depending on whether you've rented it out or it was purely your primary residence, there's a different calculation on the depreciation life. Although he said 22 years is different for a wooden building, they give you like another 50% extension on that if it's only been your primary residence. So instead of being a 22-year depreciation, it's a 33-year depreciation when you sell it. So again, just what I've said, you think, wow, that sounds confusing. That's just one level of complexity on someone's very unique circumstance for them, right? And then if it's split ownership between you and your spouse, being able to claim that tax benefit for each of you, right? That waiver. So there's so much that I think, you know, you can only scratch the surface from listening to someone's talk. And then the next step is I need to engage with that person, either as a consultation or, you know, I know about their service and I need to get their very specific professional advice. And it may have to be paid at that stage, but I don't think you'll get all the information you need just from listening. There are too many nuances when it comes to mortgages and when it comes to taxation.
Exactly.
But definitely there are other topics that we can introduce about taxation because it's so broad.
Last one, and I've got a bit of a hard stop. So, so just on a price for the next one, there's always an interesting discussion, right? Because people before said the price was just right, but then if you're going to be doing an all-inclusive thing, how much do you charge? And on site in Tokyo, like we did, you know, like coming in and out each day as a certain price, or being able to just buy a ticket to Emil's talk or buy just a ticket to Tracey's talk. And I think that's, again, adding a level of complexity we're not really set up for as a ragtag group of that we are, also running full-time businesses ourselves. So I was in with Matt, and he does run retreats in his Akia, but that's really specific for people who are, you know, going to the next level and actually just deciding if they like an area or if they're deciding that they do like the Akia life. So it's almost, it could be split out into, you know, niche retreats, for example, rather than a whole big weekend. So you know, one of these days we'll be out at big site.
Yeah, I hope so. It goes that big. Yeah, so just in terms of the responses, just to go through for people that are on audio only. So 30%, so it's that maybe 3 or 4 people of the 13 respondents said 50,000 yen for the weekend. And then about half said pick and mix based on the sessions that interest me. And another one, prefer current format only. Okay. So I think our pricing is fair. I don't want to charge much more. We may need to if we want the bigger venue, but I do want to keep it sort of quite accessible. And what was it, like 15,000 yen, I think, for 2 days?
For 2 days plus the dinner. So, you know, let's 25,000, right? So 25,000 for 2 nights, for 2 days, including food and including an extra dinner. I think we can probably push it up a little bit just to cover the extra venue, guys. So, but I also want to keep it affordable, because if people are flying in from the US and from Guam and from the Philippines, like we did have, they probably spent more on their airfare and accommodation than they have for the event. So, I mean, if we went to a full profit model, then, you know, we could have it very expensive and put all the bells and whistles on. So
yeah. And also we discussed earlier, we want to sort of grow the pie, right? You know, the rising tide analogy.
Yes.
So by having a barrier to entry, which is price, it kind of excludes those people that are just a little bit curious and scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's still accessible, they're able to come and attend and get their sort of, you know, first little taste of it and be in an environment where there are other like-minded individuals. And so this is kind of normal. So if we're all of a sudden, look, it's a 50,000 or a 70,000 yen weekend event, unless you're already deeply in it, it's probably too much to commit just to, you know, just because you're a little bit curious. So we are very conscious of trying to balance the price and, you know, the price and then also the costs. the venue and the food and whatnot. So, and a special shout out to Rob Miller of Innovations.
Thank you, Rob. He was not well on Saturday, so he only came out on the Sunday. So happy that he's sponsored us. He's another small business owner, so we love working with small businesses, and so yeah.
He's also bought real estate investment properties from me, so I know he's not shy about saying that. He's also a client of mine, and we've gotten to know each other quite well. So if you need some website,
I'm his client. He actually does all the SEO. He does the SEO and some of the maintenance and like fixing up all of the back end stuff of my website. My website is not a website that you like just makes money from selling stuff. It's a bricks and mortar business, right? So so once people get to my site, they've actually got to come and stay for me to make money. So he does a lot of that for me. So I'm very grateful because he does a good job.
All right, that's a wrap. This has been the fourth event that we've had. We had them, so the last year was in February and then I think in September. So a kind of spring and autumn. And this year we labeled them spring and autumn.
Yes.
It's
for the US people.
Yep, sure. And we'll change everything to Imperial as well. We'll do that too. No, so I kind of like this twice a year cadence.
I do like twice a year because it's a lot. It's a big job. It's a big ask. And even though we do have people that help us, with some of the booking and the systems, it's a challenge. So to do it more than that.
So again, we'll look at February, March, April.
What's hard is actually getting a date where we're all in town. We all travel a lot, and also because Ziv is in Fukuoka, and there are other people, Joey and Take are in America, so it's hard to get a date where we're all in town. But
definitely. It's hard, like there were just two of us on the Zoom today because it's even harder.
Well, exactly. We're working. People have clients, and people are doing inspections of. I think Matt's out doing an inspection of a property with a client today, and I mean, for me, it's in my calendar, so people tend not to book over the top of me. But that said, I have a client who's just arrived in my office, so I'll take it from there. So thanks, Emil.
Tracey, thank you too, and thank you to everyone who attended. The videos, by the time this video goes out, the videos are all up on realestate.jp and on the YouTube channel. So please jump on, have a listen, and then you can email us or reach out to any of us of the speakers, just with any inquiries and follow-ups that you may have, and hope to see you at the next one in April.
April, is it?
Sorry, we haven't. Sorry, no, in spring of next year.
In spring, yeah. April's a challenge, right? Remember, April's a challenge because it's cherry blossom season and accommodation. If you're flying in, accommodation is like very, very expensive. And I don't discount for April. I love you all, but no discounts in peak season. Mama needs new shoes. So
awesome. Tracey, thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right, so thanks again to everyone who attended. Be sure to check out the downloads page. You can find it both on our website, nippontradings.com with a double P, as well as on Emil's website at realestate.jp, and we'll link to it in this episode show notes. Hope to see you with us again at next year's event. Now, before we go, we're also, as always, going to tell you and also link to our other sponsor's website. That's Hiroshi Shimizu, immigration lawyer and administrative scrivener. If you're thinking about moving here on a more permanent basis, or you're already in Japan on some sort of a temporary visa and you want to switch to a longer term or permanent one, or if you're considering setting up a local company or a branch office of a foreign company and you've got any sort of business or visa related inquiries, or even if you just want to find out what your options are on any of these topics, feel free to contact Hiroshi Shimizu. You can find him at japanimmigrationexperts.com. and he can help you set up a company, apply for any kind of visa, or just provide you with the best advice and extremely affordable consultation related to these topics. And he's already done that for many of our listeners. So feel free to reach out to him. Again, that's japanimmigrationexperts.com, and you'll be well on your way. And that's it from us for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Japan Real Estate Podcast. Do share it with your networks, and please let us know what you think. So leave us a short rating or review on the iTunes Store, on Spotify, or just drop us a line in the comment section of wherever you might have found this episode. We love hearing from you. Hope to have you with us again next time, and until then, have a great day or night ahead. Yoroshiku.